Hey, how are you? I am Chris Robin, aka at Detroit Beastie, here with Team Rise or Fall on this Monday morning on Halloween, and we're getting a Battle of Ohio here in this one. Cincinnati is at Cleveland. Cleveland's getting 3 points. Kickoff is at 8:15, and truth be told, I don't know what's scarier. Michael Myers just bursting through the door behind me with a knife in his hand, or having to sit down or lay in bed tonight and watch the Battle of Ohio. That's just me, but hey, here we are, contractually obligated to discuss every game. What are we going to do? But before we get into the game and some favorite plays, and I have some bullet points here, some weird ideas, and they all include Nick Chubb and Tyler Boyd, so rest easy that we're going to get to it. Before we do that, make sure you go to the website at Team Rise or Fall. When you get there, use promo code BEASTIE. You're going to get $10 off your first month of premium services here at the site, and there's no time like the present. The time is now, like John Cena says. Your time is up, my time is now. How about we just all share the time with the website and all the premium services? Stacks, cores, pivot tools, red zone targets. I mean, they have tab after tab after tab. And let's not forget the Discord, the Team Rise or Fall Discord, which is free. And you can look around and hang out, and people are talking DFS all day long. But you get access to you unlock these other channels where you get a coach like me, CG teammate, Mitch himself, doing little 15-20 minute short broadcasts leading up to each lock. So be there or be square, and I will see you there. To be honest with you, I've been waiting to drop this line for a few days. I mentioned it in Bottom of the Barrel this week, but at Team Rise or Fall, it's all treats, rarely any tricks. All right, that was corny, but we're going to talk about the football game. Cincinnati at Cleveland, as I said. Right now, Cincinnati is 4-3, and they've looked good. They've won 4 of their previous 5 games, and they're currently tied with Baltimore for first place in the NFC North. On Sunday, last time out, Cincinnati scored 28 points in the first half. Remember, Joe Burrow went for like 3-4 touchdowns. Burrow and Chase were part of a Millie Maker winning lineup here. And when all was said and done, Cincinnati hung 537 total yards, and they won 35-17. On the flip side, the Cleveland Browns, they're 2-5. It's like same old Cleveland Browns, and what can we do? In this one, though, they come in this one kind of limping. I'm not saying like overly like hurt across the board, but they're having a tough time of it. And to this one on Sunday night with Nick Chubb, with Jacoby Brissett, I think they can right the ship. Call me crazy. Am I predicting them to go on a run and make the playoffs? No, but for tonight only, I like the Cleveland Browns and Cincinnati for that measure. Let's talk about some players here. And first and foremost, Joe Burrow. How can you go wrong with Joe Burrow? Cincinnati heads to Cleveland, not that far. Cleveland 15th overall against opposing quarterbacks. Burrow $17,000 on FanDuel. That is it's a car, right? You could put 17 grand down and mortgage a house, but hey, I digress. Burrow 11-4 on DK, $38 on Yahoo. I'm looking at Joe Burrow, 25 completions, 280 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. I think 2 touchdown passes and around 270 yards. That might happen. He might get to that before the fourth quarter even kicks off. Hey, but what do I know? And also Joe Burrow, maybe 4 to 5 carries for another 20 yards. So I'm almost it's readily available for Joe Burrow to go over 300 all-purpose yards, throwing, rushing, with just a smattering of not smattering, just a cornucopia, since it is holiday reason. But Joe Burrow will be unbelievably good tonight. When we look at Jacoby Brissett on the flip side, Cincinnati's 5th overall against opposing quarterbacks. Brissett 14 grand on FanDuel, 9-2 on DK, $20 even on Yahoo. Jacoby 21, maybe 22 completions in this one. I'm thinking, everything I've seen, and everything was pulling me towards Jacoby at like 240 yards, 250 yards. I think that's when we get into the danger zone, the red zone, when you look at Jacoby going over 250 in this one, given the fact that Cincinnati's, front 4, or the front 4 and back 7 are very good. They're buzzing around. They're ball hawks here. So Jacoby, let's just call it what it is. We'll put a safe floor with like 200 yards, 220 passing yards, a touchdown pass, and he'll take off and split 4 or 5 times for an additional 15 to 20 yards. I think that is pretty safe. When we go down the list, this is the sweet spot of the article, of the video, of the slate here, and it's the running backs, right? Mixon, Chubb, Hunt, even Samaje Perine to a certain extent, because it's a single game. We're going to max enter, play a ton of entries. We got to cover all our bases here. So let's speak of Joe Mixon first. Browns. Cleveland is 29th overall against opposing running backs here. Mixon will have, I'm not going to say have his way because that sounds rude or not nice, but Joe Mixon will play well tonight. He'll get over on the Cleveland Browns time and time again. Mixon, 13 grand on FanDuel, 9-4 on DK, $25 on Yahoo. When I see Mixon, when I look at Mixon tonight, right, I did all my notes and the projections, Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, and I wasn't racking my brain, but I'm thinking, where do I want to go with Joe Mixon, right? Because my notes, my video, do I want to be like over the top outlandish? And if I am with Mixon or even Hunt and Chubb, do I really believe that, right? I can get on camera, anybody can get on camera and just sell you snake oil and go, yeah, Joe Mixon's going to go off for 500 yards and 17 touchdowns, but do I really believe it? Do you really believe it? And that's the move here. Just sitting up here with my notes, just being honest and open is the way to do these videos, to do my videos, right? That's how I like it. And I do truly believe Joe Mixon goes nuts tonight. I'm thinking 17, 18 carries, 85 to 90 yards, 4 receptions. I know that's wild, but let's just call it 4 to 5 receptions for another 40 to 45 yards. So well over 100 all-purpose yards. I think we're scratching the surface with Mixon to get like 130, 140 all-purpose yards, and he finds the end zone. Samaje Perine, Chris Evans, not much going on. Perine would just be a salary relief issue. FanDuel, 5 grand, 4.8 on DK, 13 on Yahoo. When we go down to Nick Chubb, now we're talking. As it stands now, last I looked, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments or retweet this or, send me a DM and say, Chris, you're a dummy. You're wrong about Nick Chubb. But I do truly believe that Nick Chubb is first overall in almost all offensive running back statistical categories. And when you look at Cincinnati, they're 4th overall against opposing running backs. Any other guy in the backfield, I'd give pause. It'd be hesitation if I go, oh, the opposing team is 4th overall. They're really good. But Chubb has stepped up. He's gone Super Saiyan, taken it to the next level. So to me, Nick Chubb is one of those guys, which I've mentioned previously so far this season. Some guys are just matchup proof. DVP doesn't matter. You don't even have to waste time looking and talking about that stuff. And Nick Chubb is one of those guys, one of the few guys like that. Nick Chubb, 15 grand on FanDuel, $10,400 on DK, $36 on Yahoo, 18 to 20 carries. I think that's a good baseline, right? That should be enough. About 90 yards, 2 to 3 receptions, another 20 yards, and a touchdown. So far, Mixon and Chubb, well over 110, 120 all-purpose yards, and each guy scores a touchdown here. So lines without Joe Mixon or Nick Chubb tonight just doesn't make sense. It's written in the stars that both guys are just going to go back and forth, and we'll go from there. Kareem Hunt is a nice pivot. I've got some lines, which I'll share, that include Mixon, Chubb, and Hunt. There's never been an issue with me, and hopefully not you, playing 2 running backs from the same team. That's the new wave, the new look NFL here. So when Kareem Hunt, 10 grand on FanDuel, 5-6 on DK, and $15 on Yahoo. Kareem Hunt, 7 to 8 carries. That's on the low side, but it's safe, right? 35 to 40 yards, 2 to 3 receptions. That's where he makes his hay. Another 25 to 30 yards here. So I'm going to guess 60 to 65 to 70 all-purpose yards for Chubb. The rub here with Chubb is, does he find the end zone? And with Mixon and Chubb and Joe Burrow, chucking the ball around, I don't see the touchdown equity, as they say, for Hunt on FanDuel. DK, beautiful play, 5-6 on there. When we go to the wide receivers here, it's a bummer. Jamar Chase, that injury, that hip injury came out of nowhere, but we need to adjust accordingly. That's the whole idea behind DFS. Is your seasonal team out of it? You're just loaded with injuries, can't make it. We'll play DFS. It's a one and done. It's a one-night stand when it comes to fantasy football. T. Higgins, he's going to be all the rage tonight. 15.5 on FanDuel, $8,000 on DK, and $22 on Yahoo. T. Higgins, 10 targets, 7 receptions, 80 yards, and a touchdown. That is, I'm very firm on that, right? We can go above, but I'm not willing to dip down lower than 80 yards and at least one touchdown reception for T. You would think he's the biggest benefactor with Chase being out. We know they're family and they play together, but we have to realistically look at this. Chase is gone. He's out. Who's going to take over, and where are they going to spread out the targets? Tyler Boyd is also on my short list. He's highlighted in my notes. 12,500 on FanDuel. Boyd, 6-4 on DK, $22 on Yahoo. Tyler Boyd, 6 targets, 5 receptions, 60 yards. Let's call it that. And I just want to let you know, Cleveland, 16th overall against opposing wide receivers. Mike Thomas, he might be in play. I have Mike Thomas about 4 or 5 targets, 2 to 3 receptions. So when you look at Thomas, 5-5 on FanDuel, FanDuel, $1,200 on DK, and the bare minimum $10 on Yahoo, I could make a case for Mike Thomas in certain spots after we plug in the studs like Mixon and Chubb and even Tyler Boyd here. So as we move down, let's talk of the Cleveland wide receivers briefly. We can breeze through these ones. Cincinnati is outstanding, 5th overall against opposing wide receivers. They have these outstanding ball hawking, opportunistic, instinctual safeties and cornerbacks. Their defensive line is also good, as I said. They're 4th against opposing running backs here. But Amari Cooper, there's a certain thing with Cooper. I've never liked the guy, but I respect what he does and his talent here. Cooper, $11,000 on FanDuel, $7,600 on DK, and $18 on Yahoo. We're going to get, Amari Cooper is just a target hog, a target monster, and rightfully so, looking at what else the Cleveland Browns have, out wide, wideouts and X, Y, Z and all that. Amari Cooper, 10 targets, 7 receptions, and 70 yards. As we go down the list, Donovan Peoples-Jones, go blue. David Bell, the rookie, he hasn't made that big of an impression so far, but Donovan Peoples-Jones is where I want to stop just for a moment here. When you look at DPJ, $8,000 on FanDuel, $2,400 on DK, and $12 on Yahoo. 6-7 targets for DPJ, 4 receptions, and I think we'd be safe, DPJ, DDP, however you want to put it. I think we'd be safe with around 4 to 5 receptions, 450 yards. I think that's great, and given his lower price tag, he makes for a nice little pivot or a plug and play here. When we look at the tight ends, honestly, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 tight ends written down, 4 for Cleveland and 2 for Cincinnati. And the only guy I want is Hayden Hurst in this one. Cleveland, 11th overall against defending opposing tight ends. Hayden Hurst, that's the move. $8,000 on FanDuel, $5,200 on DK, and $15 on Yahoo. 5-6 targets, 4 receptions, 40 yards. And just shout out to him for the Hayden Hurst Foundation. They dig into mental health and substance abuse and how to help folks. And I've been on the Hayden Hurst Foundation Podathon twice now, and it's been the thrill of a lifetime. So shout out to Hayden and all the boys over there that put this together. It's a very, very much needed kind of thing, an issue that needs to be talked about instead of criticized. As we go down, Mitchell Wilcox, Harrison Bryant. I will say this: Harrison Bryant, the Cleveland Browns tight end, $7,000 on FanDuel, $4,000 on DK, and $10 on Yahoo. David Njoku's already out for this week. So what are we going to do? Where do we go? And it stinks because Njoku he's not breaking out, but he's been an outstanding source of points and relative normalcy at the tight end position, which is unheard of, especially this season. Harrison Bryant, 5 targets, 3 receptions, 35 to 40 yards. I do just want to throw out the idea of Farrell Brown as well. $5,000 on FanDuel, $200 on DK, $10 on Yahoo. As we go down the list, you know what? When it comes to defenses and kickers, there's something just pulling me to both kickers tonight. Evan McPherson, the rookie Cade York here. McPherson, $9,000 on FanDuel, $4,600 on DK. Cleveland, 23rd overall against opposing kickers. So, Evan, 3 for 3 extra points, a couple field goals, might be a perfect night for both kickers. As we transition, Cade York, Cincinnati, dead last, 32nd. They give up a ton of points to kickers. So the rookie, very much in play. Cade, 8-5 on FanDuel, 4-4 on DK. I'm saying it now. They're both highlighted. I will mix and match them, and I will put both kickers in the same lineup several times over. I've already done that. So if you'd like to join me, have at it. That's my trick-or-treat Halloween gift to you. Let's start both kickers. When we look at the final score of this thing, let's go over some recent betting trends, and we'll get the heck out of here. We're almost 14 minutes in, and it's, kind of slowed down, right? Normally we're at like 16 or 20 at this point. Cincinnati 8-1 against the spread, their last 9 games on the road. Cleveland 1-4 against the spread, their last 5 games at home. The under is 10-2, Cincinnati's last 12 games, and the over is 4-0, Cleveland's last 4 games at home. And one more move here, the underdog is 5-0 against the spread the last 5 meetings. Cleveland is the underdog tonight, and I do think they win in a nail-biter, come down to a last-second field goal, some sort of defensive stand, an interception in the end zone, and the game is over, and we're going to be biting our nails if we're up that late watching the Battle of Ohio. Give me the Cleveland Browns to win this thing, 27-24, in a tight one, in a good one, just filled with fantasy goodness. So before I split, I want to say happy Halloween. Be safe. When you're crossing the road, look both ways. Don't wear black. I hope everybody can go out and get some candy, come home safely, and we'll get together again for Thursday Night Football. Until I see you then, be good, be safe. Happy Halloween.